What if I told you there was a scene you never saw in the movie? A scene that revealed the final moments of John Arnold. In this chapter, we uncover the truth. How Arnold, cornered, desperate, met his end at the claws of the velociraptors. This is the story that was left in the shadows. In the middle of the jungle, alone, with nothing but a stick, Arnold faces the impossible. 3 raptors closing in. Arnold stood with his back against the maintenance shed. 3 raptors were approaching. He had picked up a stick, waving it at the animals, shouting. The raptors spread out in a fan as they advanced. One stayed in the center, while the other 2 moved along the flanks, calm, coordinated. The velociraptors were growling, baring their teeth at Arnold. But the question is, what could make a predator like this suddenly explode? When the animal on the left simply exploded, the upper half of its torso flew through the air and its blood splattered like a tomato against a wall. The lower half collapsed on the ground, legs twitching in the air and the tail thrashing everywhere. "That'll wake him up," Arnold said. But could Arnold really escape by running into the shed? Arnold ran toward the maintenance shed door. The velociraptors turned and began to advance. Stunned by the tension, John Arnold slammed the door that led into the shed and stepped into the darkness inside. How black it was! He should have guessed the light would be out. He felt the cold air and the cavernous dimensions of the space stretching 2 floors below him. He had to find a catwalk. He had to be careful, or he would break his neck. But how long could Arnold keep the darkness from swallowing him whole? He groped like a blind man until he realized it was useless. He had to get light inside the shed. He went back to the door and opened it just 10 centimeters. That gave enough light, but there was no way to keep it open. Quickly, he took off a shoe and placed it in the gap. He saw the catwalk and went toward it. He walked on the metal, hearing the difference in sound his feet made, one loud, one soft. But at least he could see. Ahead was the stairway, leading down 9 more meters into the generators below. But there was no more light. He looked back at the door and saw the light blocked by the body of a velociraptor. The animal leaned down, carefully sniffing the shoe. But what chance did Arnold have once the raptor was inside? Arnold retreated to the beginning of the catwalk. The velociraptor was barely 3 meters away, approaching cautiously, moving into the shadows. Arnold could hear the click of its deadly claws on the metal, but it marched slowly. He knew the animal could see well, but the unfamiliar mechanical smells made it cautious. That hesitation was his only chance, he thought. If he could reach the staircase and then go down to the lower floor, because he was sure velociraptors could not take stairs, surely not steep, narrow stairs. He glanced over his shoulder. The stairway was only a few meters away. Just a few more steps, and he had made it. Reaching back, he touched the handrail and began to descend blindly down the almost vertical steps. His feet touched horizontal concrete. The raptor growled in frustration, 6 meters above him on the catwalk. "Too bad, buddy," Arnold mocked. He turned. He was now very close to the auxiliary generator. Just a few more steps and he would see it, even in the dim light. There was a dull thud behind him. Arnold turned. The velociraptor was there, standing on the concrete floor, growling. It had leapt down in an instant. Arnold looked for a weapon, but suddenly he was slammed violently onto his back against the concrete. Something heavy crushed his chest. He couldn't breathe. The animal was on top of him. He felt the great claws tearing into the flesh of his chest. He smelled the foul breath as the head lowered over him, and he opened his mouth to scream.